In this world, there are individuals with abnormal abilities who are superior to ordinary people. For this reason, robots have been created to control crime, the newest of which are robot dogs designed specifically to prevent crime without causing harm. Also, a new drug called Psych has emerged on the streets, the raw material of which is extracted from the spinal fluid of individuals with powers. After Connor is released from prison, on his way back home, he encounters a guy named Garrett who wants his help to get to the city as he owes him, but Connor tells him to get the F away. 6 months pass from these events, and you see a girl named Pav who has an extremely rare power going home with her brother Tarak. They cook dinner together and it seems they are living below the poverty line. The next day, they plan to unveil the new police dogs, right in front of the building where Garrett is making the psych drug. Garrett tells his people not to wait for the police to leave and start their work, and on the way out, it becomes clear that Garrett has the power to move objects from a distance. Outside the apartment, Tarak approaches Garrett and requests a promotion from him. He sells drugs for Garrett, but this doesn't cover his and his sister's expenses, leading to a confrontation with Garrett and his associates. Later, you see Sergeant King giving a speech. He says he's just like everyone else and has listened to their words. He asks Officer Steelman to come up on stage, then asks him to bring his taser and point it at the robotic police dog. The police dog immediately knocks him down, but Sergeant King tells him that when facing these robots, if you have done anything illegal, just put your hands up to show compliance. That same night, you see Garrett's men placing a large sum of money in a bag and riding off to deliver it to the police in Lincoln City. In response to their dissatisfaction, Garrett tells his men that this is the price they have to pay for the business. Meanwhile, Tarak eavesdrops on their conversation with his power of camouflage and then starts chasing the money-carrying vehicle on his bicycle. Garrett's men place the money bag inside a box in a secluded alley and lock it. Tarak quickly goes to the box and starts hammering the lock, but when he lifts the bag to escape, he encounters police cars. He stands in a corner, but a police officer spots him. Tarak starts running, but instead of chasing him, the police send their robotic dog after him. The police dog follows Tarak down the street until Tarak enters an abandoned building. Meanwhile, his sister, Pav, searches for her brother. She leaves the house to continue her search. Tarak is happy to have so much money, but the police dog is still on his trail. Tarak hits something in his path and draws the police dog towards it. He can hide from the dog again, but he again produces a sound, drawing the dog towards him. Finally, Tarak deceives the police dog with his power of camouflage, and the dog backs off. Tarak heads towards home, unaware that the police dog is lying in wait for him. Controlled by the real police despite Tarak raising his hands, the robotic dog injects him with a large amount of psych drugs. Tarak overdoses and dies. At the same time, Pav arrives, and the police dog attacks her this time, but Pav uses her power to fend off the dog. The next morning, you see Connor getting ready and heading towards his usual job. As he is moping the community center floor, someone named Davis approaches him and starts talking. Connor responds rudely to him, so Davis leaves his card and goes away. Shortly after, a woman named Mina approaches him and asks why he's always here because nobody comes to this place anymore. Connor tells her he's happy with what he's doing. Then Mina gives him some food to take home. Meanwhile, Sergeant King is in the Lincoln City Police Department, checking on his robotic dog. His colleague tells him that he hasn't seen anything like what happened to the robot before, and can't explain how people with electrical powers could be involved. While Connor is cleaning the yard, he suddenly encounters Pav in a small warehouse. He brings her into the building, and Connor and Mina realize what happened last night. Suddenly, the police start banging on the building. Connor gets the little girl's trust, and while Mina distracts the police, Connor and Pav find a chance to escape towards Connor's home. Shortly after, King goes to see Garrett to talk about last night's murder. Garrett is annoyed by King's interference and says this is his business and territory, and King shouldn't meddle. King adds that if that guy's sister confesses, there will be no business left for anyone else. But Garrett insists that the testimony of a little girl won't change anything, and King needs to get the F out of here. After Connor and Pav arrive at the apartment, Connor quickly disposes of the psych drugs without Pav noticing. The news is on, discussing the overdose of Pav's brother last night. Pav becomes upset and angry, using her power to disrupt the television. It's at this moment that Connor realizes the very rare power Pav possesses. The police, in order to arrest them, invaded their apartment, but the two managed to evade them. However, at the apartment exit, they encounter two police robots, which Connor disables with his electrical power. Then Pav causes a disturbance in the drone above them. They flee but have nowhere to go. It's nighttime, and just as they sit in a restaurant, Garrett shows up. After ordering coffee, They start talking. Connor tells Garrett that Garrett owes him and needs his help now. He wants Garrett to start a new life outside the city for his friend. Garrett, due to Connor's behavior last time, asks him the reason for his hatred, to which Connor says Garrett is a dirty parasite who does anything for money. Then Garrett continues that Pav is very lucky to have this power and suggests that in exchange for having a dream life for herself and Connor, Pav should erase the memories of her brother's murder and work for him, or else he will kill her. Connor talks to Pav and convinces her to do it despite her objections. They get into Garrett's car and head towards a strange location. They enter a dirty and almost abandoned place, where Pav faces a woman with unique powers. She has the ability to erase people's memories. The guide tells her to hold the special woman's hand and start imagining Tarak. She tells her to imagine the night of his murder, and the memory is erased from her mind. Connor tells them to stop, but the guide says the memories are deep-rooted and wants to erase all memories of her brother. Pav's thoughts are not her own, and she can't stop herself. He tells Pav to think more and go through all her memories with her brother, but suddenly Pav takes control, retrieves her memories, and returns to the real world. At that moment, Connor activates the ignition sensor and uses his power to shock Garrett and his men with electricity. Then he leaves with Pav from that place and returns to Mina. Later the next morning, you see Mina driving with Connor and Pav. Connor apologizes for what happened to Pav. At the same time, King orders the removal of a drone from the network to carry out his malicious activities with 2 police robots out of public view. He also sends their location to Garrett. Garrett and his men catch them under a bridge and make them get out of the car. Garrett points his gun at them and says there's no way out other than killing Pav, but Connor tells him he has to kill him first, but Garrett can't do it. At that moment, the police robots start shooting at them. First, one of Garrett's men, then Garrett himself and Mina are shot. Mina manages to withstand the bullets, but Garrett's men are all killed. Garrett also takes a bullet to his shoulder. In a tragic move, Mina shields them to get into Garrett's car and escape from there. Near dusk, the police arrive at the crime scene, and Mina is still alive. King tells her to tell him their whereabouts, so he calls an ambulance on her, but Mina spits on his face and dies. They arrive at an orphanage with Garrett's guidance, and then help Garrett remove the bullet from his shoulder. In the middle of the night, Pav asks Garrett if he used to live here, and Garrett shows her his brother's names written on the wall, saying now he's the only one left. A little later, Pav and Connor are eating wafers when Connor suggests going to the border and crossing with a truck. But Pav says she no longer wants to run away and needs Connor's help to set things right. In the morning, Davis comes to them to brainstorm ideas to take down King together. Davis says the Drug Enforcement Agency and the police chief are all behind King. He grew very quickly and gained a lot of trust. Pav suggests that by exposing the devilish deeds he has done, they can put an end to him. Robotic police dogs record all events, and Pav can transfer that information. Then they head towards King's house where he keeps his robotic dog. Connor and Garrett pose as representatives of the Lincoln City Police Association and enter his house, waiting for King to arrive. King arrives, charges his robotic dog into the parking lot, and locks it. Seeing these two, he is greatly shocked but keeps the conversation going anyway. Meanwhile, Pav enters the garage door into the parking lot and tries to unlock it. The robotic dog sends an alarm to the control center, prompting them to contact King. As his phone starts to ring, Garrett warns him not to answer. Connor and King's wife leave on the pretext of him going to the restroom, leaving Garrett and King alone. He goes to Pav and encourages desperate Pav to open the robot lock. Inside the house, a dispute arises between Garrett and King uses his power to throw a knife at Garrett. It is at that moment that Garrett realizes King is also a special person who has hidden his power. Garrett tells King that people who hide their powers eventually forget how to use them, and puts an end to this conflict. With King's wife returning, Garrett decides to leave, and when King enters the garage with stress, he sees that his robotic dog has been stolen. They move towards Garrett's towers to retrieve the dog's information, and the police also dispatch a team to that location. When Connor and Pav enter the building, they realize that Garrett has other plans for this robotic dog and has betrayed them. He wants to control King by having the information inside the robot's memory. Then he decapitates the dog and hands it over to his henchman, telling him to protect it with his life. The police arrive, and Garrett has a proposal for King. In exchange for not broadcasting the videos of King, he asks him to back off from himself, Connor, and Pav, and also halves his share. King shows his disagreement by wielding a knife at Garrett, showing his intention to take back his robotic dog by sending his men into the building. A news van arrives at that moment, and everything is ready to implement the initial plan. Therefore, Connor and Pav ask Garrett's man to hand over the robotic dog's head to them and trust them, but with hesitation, they finally do so. The police arrive at their apartment, and a confrontation ensues between them. The police have special shields that deflect electricity, and they use non-lethal guns. They also use robotic dogs to combat power-endowed individuals. Garrett's men fight with the police to buy enough time for Connor and Pav. They fight well against the police, overpowering them until King, in a skirmish, is forced to use his power. He shoots his gun at his enemy's head and kills him. Everyone hears the sound of the gunfire. As Connor and Pav are about to leave the hallway, a robotic police dog attacks them and intends to kill them. Connor tells Pav to escape, but he stays to fight the robotic dog. The lightning bolts don't affect the dog, and it's able to jump on him. Connor tries to disable the robotic dog with his power, causing a power outage, but the dog won't stay turned off. The robotic dog injects Connor with a syringe containing psych drug, but just at the last moment Pav arrives and with her power, takes control of the robotic dog. At the same moment, a police officer with his robotic dog arrives and orders the dog to attack them. Under Pav's control, the dogs have a duet, and the enemy dog is destroyed. Then it turns to the police officer. The officer shoots at the dog, and the dog cuts off the officer's little finger. Connor stands up and realizes that Pav has been shot. In a weakened state, Pav tells Connor to continue the mission. Connor, affected by psych drug, embraces Pav and carries her out of the building. At the same time, Garrett destroys a robotic dog that is about to attack them. Connor needs a news reporting camera, and after obtaining one, he hands it to Pav so she can connect to the city television and show the recorded images from King's robotic dog to the whole city. All the people in the city are watching the news and realizing for what purpose these dogs are being produced and used, prompting King to be immediately arrested after leaving the building. 3 months pass from this incident, and you see Connor still busy with his previous work, but this time this community center is full of people. Pav is also present and says Mina would be happy to see this place like this. Finally, the news about King's arrest is reported, adding that a new source of psych is entering the city. This news left a smile on Garrett's face.